it's not just about censorship, right? So the first tenet of the Internet Bill of Rights was we got to classify the internet, these social media giants, as the monopolies that they are, as public utilities, right? The second tenet was the most exciting to some of these more left-leaning audiences, and that was the concept of the great data clawback. And kind of thinking behind that was we are being cyber stalked 24/7 everywhere we go. Even if you try to turn your location services off, your phone still pings a GPS satellite like every couple minutes, right? So it plots you everywhere you go. Every phone call, every email, every website you go to has Google Analytics in it. So every single thing about you is being studied by these tech giants. And it's not just on your online stuff. The banks are giving all of your banking data. They take your name off it and just assign a number, and then they say it's aggregated now, and they give all that to the tech giants. The hospitals are taking all your medical data and selling that to the tech giants, right? And so there's all this data, and that data is the fuel, the gasoline that powers AI, right? So this artificial intelligence, in order to learn, it needs these massive, massive pools of data, right? And that's pools of data that the tech companies just take for us and sell. And it's one of the reasons why these tech giants are worth trillions of dollars now, and it's going to be exponentially more into the future, is because they just get all of our data for free. So
data is the new currency.
The idea of the Internet Bill of Rights, this great data clawback, was we want to establish the principle of data sovereignty, right? My data, the data that I generate, is my sovereign property, and anyone who uses it, or anyone who is, whether it's a query, whether it's an AI, whether it's selling it to these brokers, whether it's using it for targeted ads to make money, I must be paid a royalty on every single bit of data that is being profited on, right? So we were creating a model for every single person in this country that uses a phone, that goes to the hospital, that has a bank, that goes to stores, to be making $1,000 to $1,500 a month, just based on the data that they are essentially taking from us for free right now. So we could go to some of these lefty groups and we could say, the Yang crowd, the socialists, quote unquote, and we could say, hey, obviously, it's not really a viable thing or a fair thing if we just give people handouts, right? You can't, if you want to receive something, you have to generate some value that you're reaping in return, right? We can't just take money from other people and give it to you guys for nothing. But if you are out there, right, you as an individual, even if you're poor, you use your phone, you go places, you have your data being stolen, and you can earn money off of the value you're generating, right? So it's a concept. We don't call it a universal basic income. We call it a universal passive income, right? Because this isn't a handout. This is This is a job, essentially, or this is you putting forth, creating the value that you're reaping in return, essentially. Yeah. So that got a lot of these left-leaning groups very excited, right? It was a viable path to what they would consider universal basic income, and it's not going on the taxpayers, right? It's funded by these multi-trillion-dollar tech giants, and it's the only fair way to do this. And so with Jerome, he was a pro athlete and a college athlete, and we would talk about how in the 90s, when he played for Arizona State, they started making this video game called NCAA, and they would take all of these athletes, they would make these characters in this video game that had all their exact stats, that looked exactly like them, and was essentially a digital version of their essence, right? And they wouldn't pay the players a penny. And so recently, kind of as a country, we came to the conclusion collectively that, listen, it's not fair. If you are going to profit off of these guys' labor, you have to pay them their cut, right? It's only fair. And so we need that concept to be expanded and applied across the internet, because this AI that is getting tons of data for free, this thing is going to be swallowing up this gigantic robotic apparatus. It's going to be swallowing up larger and larger portions of our economy, and it's going to rapidly increase over the next decade or so, right? So if you're out in Arizona, there's self-driving cars everywhere, right? They're going to be essentially making regular drivers obsolete, right? Because you don't want to have to pay someone, you don't want to have to give them breaks and stuff when you can just have this robot do their job for them. Factory work, like customer service, phone calls, chat, things like that. We're going to have tens of millions of less jobs than we do right now in the next decade. So as this AI apparatus swallows up larger and larger portions of our economy, how are we going to deal with that without just kind of descending into Mad Max world because nobody has a job? And one of the good ways to address this is with this Internet Bill of Rights, is with this data clawback, and is giving people the agency and the ability to earn money off of the value that they are providing.
I absolutely